Hello everyone. So, per a subscriber request, I have developed some cards using the May 2023 Your Creative Studio subscription box, the vintage theme one. This is a little bit of the stuff. I don't think I used many of the things in here. And then I did use the stamps and the washi and these little card topper type tag items and the papers, and I will just give you a brief look. This is my little reference book. I do have a video for this, how I made this, or showing it or something. I'll put a link in the corner there, but we go all the way. I think this, I'm gonna have to make a new one soon because I've run out of pages, and I might just add some more elastic, but this is May. This is the washi, the stamps, one of the little topper tag things, the tissue paper, a selection of the papers here, and then on this side we have one of the stickers from this pack of stickers, one of the washi stickers here, one of these stickers, a couple of the little tiny little sticker flakes, and then these beautiful postage stamps. And that's just my way of referencing what I get in the box. And I finally did decorate the cover, and I used supplies mostly. I think most of these, if not all, no, maybe, yeah, came from previous Your Creative Studio boxes, and I really like how it turned out. So we will jump right into the cards. All right, for the first card, we have this beautiful pattern paper, and I have made my own card bases, and I'm using a scrap of white cardstock. Looks like it's about 1 3/8 of an inch wide, and it is just shy of the size of the card base. Then I have this scrap that maybe came from this toucan paper. I'm not sure. I think it's a scrap from card 2 maybe. And I'm just going to use my tape runner to glue it down, leaving approximately, I'm thinking it's about 1/8 of an inch from the top. It's cut to the length of this scrap, which is, I believe, 5 1/4 inches long. Or is it 5? Oh, I can't remember. Don't quote me on that. Anyway, then we're going to take the washi, and again, about 1/8 of an inch from the bottom. And so there's about 1/8 of an inch of overlap that has a little bit of a different color. Now, I wish I had just folded the edges over and then glued this on, but I trimmed them off, and, you know, it works fine. It's just one more step that I didn't need to do. So then I'm going to place this down in the lower portion of the card, and we're going to take this little topper tag item from the pack. It's the pineapple, and I'm going to just use some wet glue and glue it down here in the bottom right, and that will finish off the first card. And for these cards for this video, I'm just going to leave them all without sentiments, and when we come to the bonus card later, I'll show you some ideas for sentiments, but I can easily plop one on when I need the card. So for card number 2, we have, again, a card base, a white card base, and then I've found this nice forest green cardstock to use, and that's from my stash, so all the colored cardstock is from my stash. Then the toucan paper, which I think that other scrap came off of this, and place him down with just a little, 1/8 of an inch border all around. I think that's what that is. And then I have 4 of these little die cut pieces that I'm just messing around with arranging here in the bottom right as kind of a secondary focal element. The toucan is really kind of the main focal element of this card, but you know how I love dimension. So of course I want to add a little bit of layering and dimension. I am so sorry about my glue bottle. You know, I also am frugal and like to use up things that I have, and I am apparently using every last drop of this glue bottle. I have a clamp on there just to get the last bit of it, and I think I added a little bit of water to get every last drop so it's a little drippy. So I've decided I'm going to layer them this way, and then I grabbed a little foam dot for that floral piece, and then here as I'm putting them on, I just had this idea all of a sudden, so I'm wiping off some of the glue, and I'm gonna try to curl up the edge of this little flower thing here. Gotta wipe off a little more. So actually having that wet glue, really liquidy glue, helped in this case because it hadn't even had a chance to dry. And you know how I changed my mind. So yeah, I'm going to place this down, and then I wanted the tip of that one flower to go over the dimensional flower here, and just curled it up a bit. So sorry for that. Oh, I didn't mute my phone. I think it's muted now. Anyway, so we got a lot of volume going on in dimension, and that can get squished in an envelope a bit, but for now, it's lovely. A nice little shadow there. To finish off the card, this is totally optional. I just wanted to add a little more glimmer. These are from a previous Spellbinders card kit of the month, and I thought they matched perfectly. Just a little bling, and I saved you all my fussing around with it. So for the third card, again, card base, and a nice deep dark forest green, and then this kind of craft colored cardstock. I don't have a whole lot of, believe it or not, craft colored cardstock. I mean, but this one really I thought went well, and this is a more vintage look. This card, definitely. So then there was this pad of papers, and I flipped through and found the kind of darky vintage tropical looking ones. Pulled out like 5 of them, and I decided on these 3, and I'm gonna fan them out here across the front of my card. And I have a little bit of repositionable adhesive on the back there. That's how they're kind of staying together. And then I'm just going to glue them all down and so they don't move. And place them down here in the center. And then digging through the tag pieces, I am going to use the toucan. I want to show you here the difference. They were just too bright, too pastel, you know, they didn't really go with the whole vintage vibe there. So I took my gathered twigs, distress oxide ink, and just went to town with it, inking up the edges and went all over the front of him. And since it's kind of a glossy surface, if you don't like what you do, you can even wipe it off afterwards and do it again. So there's forgiveness there. And I did it again for the little foliage. I'm not even sure what that is. Then I have a scrap of craft cardstock here that I cut a little tail out of. And this, I'm just showing you what I did because the one that goes on the card is actually slightly different. So inked it up. I went a little heavy on the water there. Oops. Yeah. And so I had to add a little more ink, but the whole idea is you get this kind of distressed look. And then this scrap, I don't even know where it came from. I just pulled it out of a stash of scraps from my desk, and it is really interesting how I dabbed it up with a paper towel, and it has that texture in it. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then here I'm sticking the little foliage element underneath the toucan. And that will finish off this card, and there's a nice spot for a sentiment, even though I don't know what I'm going to put on there yet. And so here's a little close-up look. Love the little accident with the texture of the paper towel there. For the fourth card, again, a dark green cardstock, and this time we are featuring the flamingo. I really like I love flamingos. I don't like to smell them. They stink in person, at least at the zoo. But they're really cool looking animals, so I love that. And I think it works for more than summer. Here I'm talking over showing you where these stickers came from. Yes, the small one came in the May box, but the larger one is from February, I believe. That was what I showed you. This first idea here is me putting it onto like parchment or vellum paper. And I'm going to show you how that looks, although I do end up going with the other look. So it's slightly different. It's more of a translucent, but I liked the look of transparent, and that is putting it on acetate. And I actually did just use some of the random packaging that was laying on my desk from opening all these things and stuck the stickers on, and then just used a little bit of the tape runner adhesive because it doesn't really show through, so that's great. And then I just am going to layer these 2 stickers down here in the bottom right because my main focal point is the flamingo. I want him to shine. But you see how it's a different look? And yeah, either one works. I just went with this one. I liked it better, and I can't even tell you exactly why. So then a little bit of glue and another one of these floral elements, and that is it. I love it. On to the 5th and not final, but the 5th card. And again, I loved this chameleon. Look at him. That's from this page. And I had a funny sentiment that I thought of that I might end up using for this card. Who knows? I don't know what I'm going to use it for yet. So for now it's blank. But yeah, I have a lighter green color. I think it really looks good with the elements in this card. And then a couple of these pieces. This little jungle leaf I've put up on fun foam to just give it a little lift. A lot of glue here. And I'm going to place that down in the bottom right. And I just love how this chameleon's eye is just so intense, and it just looks like he's staring at you. They're kind of funny. Again, these are awesome animals, really cool looking. And I just appreciate animals and how different and unique they are. I have seen one in person, but only because at the pet store. So here's my little funny sentiment. I thought it would be, here's looking at you, kid, or something like that. Let me know what you think this card, if it should be blank, if it should have a sentiment. So here I'm just going to briefly show you the bonus card. Again, card base, some craft colored cardstock, some paper from the kit. And if you remember, if you saw my unboxing, if not, check it out in a link, or you will hear my idea for the pineapples. And this is sort of how it turned out. I did have an idea of doing pineapples across the front of a card, and this was the card that I came up with it. And yeah, I just have some nice kind of pinkish cardstock that I found. I thought it went well with this background paper. So here are a few quick sentiment ideas. These are just from my little scrap bin, so they'd been cut out for some other purpose, and I didn't use them, and I'm just trying them out on the cards. And I was thinking I could ink them up, change the color, or, cut it out of different colored cardstock, but it's just to give you a brief look of what this might look like with different sentiments. So for all these cards, I'm leaving the sentiments off, but there it is. So finally, I will show you briefly all 6 cards, 5 and 1 bonus. And I would love to hear your ideas in the comments, your thoughts, favorites. What kind of sentiments do you think would work for these, or do you think they just stand well enough on their own? Thanks again for watching. As always, have a wonderful and creative day. Bye.